What is going on? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today I want to talk to you about Global Compliance Applications Corp, tickers APP under the TSX Venture, and also it is listed under the OTC under FUAPF. So I'm going to go over what this company does, some things that you need to know coming from an investor standpoint, and why it might be advantageous to get in now. Before I get into any of that though, making sure you guys hit that thumbs up and subscribe is always greatly appreciated. With that though, let's get right to it. So I'm going to link their website in the description below, so if you do have any questions, concerns, or whatever it might be, pop over there, take a look at it. It has a lot of good information. Also, let me know in the comments below what you do think about GCAC as well. So getting right to it, 𝗖𝗢𝗡𝗘𝗖𝗧. So our 𝗖𝗢𝗡𝗘 blockchain is a leading Ethereum layer 2 solution designed to boost the speed and scalability of Ethereum smart contracts while adding privacy and KYC features. We also created an app on the 𝗖𝗢𝗡𝗘𝗖𝗧 blockchain to help businesses solve their most challenging supply chain problems. So ultimately, 𝗖𝗢𝗡𝗘𝗖𝗧 does link consumers and cultivators. So in general, it makes the transaction so much more efficient and secure and trustworthy, which I am all about. So definitely like that. But like I said, pop over to their website. It does have their corporate deck, case study, newsroom, a lot of necessary information to make a sound decision. So when it comes to it, how do we do it? So GCAC's 𝗖𝗢𝗡𝗖𝗧 is an Ethereum layer 2 solution that creates blockchain attestations via a smartphone. Attestations or blockchain transactions are only available to users who met 𝗖𝗢𝗡𝗖𝗧's KYC protocols to ensure truthfulness. So it is fairly good to keep at the overall efficiency level. Consumers attest their product experience to the same chain, and data attests on the blockchain is viewed through a scannable QR code. 𝗖𝗢𝗡𝗖𝗧 Web 3.0 connects people who make products with those who consume them through a continuous data loop throughout the supply chain. So again, like I said, making things very efficient. I'm going to be talking on 𝗖𝗢𝗡𝗖𝗧, Clear, ESG, and Prescripti. So like I said, pop over there. A lot of good information, a lot of good updates coming from the business as well. So I'm going to go over all of that fun jazz. In addition, on their website, it does have right here a whole PDF in case you are a cultivator. It's very alluring. So by this actual PDF, it does go over here if you are a cultivator on how you potentially could save by using 𝗖𝗢𝗖𝗖𝗧. So I really do like that. And a lot of companies don't necessarily make it that easy and advantageous for consumers or cultivators to see how it benefits them directly. But if you are a cultivator and you see this, that definitely makes things a lot easier. And now coming from an investor standpoint, whenever you make things easier for someone, it's a little bit more advantageous for them to jump over. And coming from an investor standpoint, that means more money, more revenue. And I always like companies that generate more and more revenue and try and do these things, make it easy for people. I hope that makes sense at the end of the day. I'm not necessarily going to go through this PDF because it is very numbers oriented. Like I said, it just shows and explains how it is beneficial and how it cuts costs. So again, that's a very good thing to take a look at and be aware of. But when it comes to 𝗖𝗢𝗖𝗖𝗧, this is a smartphone app. Like I mentioned, it is very user friendly by larger apps and bigger buttons and things like that, reducing errors and whatever it might be. You can also upload photos, files, and videos, which can be time-stamped. A lot of good information, as you can see under the features. Benefits: no third-party device. So in general, it's just plain and simple one-on-one. Consumers, cultivators. That's plain and simple what it tries to do and what it tries to attain. So I think that's a very big thing. Tile format designed to minimize user error. Like I said, it is a very big deal. Flexible time formats capture all credible data. But keep in mind, this is all very, very secure. So like I said, under the blockchain, it makes things perfect, a perfect opportunity for this to flourish. And coming from an investor standpoint, like I said at the very beginning, if you like the blockchain or the tech aspect of this hands down is very advantageous. Or for instance, if you like cannabis and you want to invest in cannabis or that's component of it, this is a indirect way of doing that. So again, very beneficial for everyone and depending on your needs. And also app workflow matches cultivators sequence. QR code can easily be scanned by anyone using a camera. Reports based on attestation can identify issues by app user, event, and time. So overall, pretty good. A lot of good information. Clear, ESG, ESG. So 80% of all the general public are not willing to buy from a company with a low ESG score. So when it comes down to that trustworthiness, like I said, millennials also place a 3x importance on ESG when making purchasing decisions. Employees also want to be associated with their companies that share their values. Then there's prescriptive as well, which prescriptive makes better decisions overall, and that's coming from personal medical needs. So because it does verify and analyze over 600,000 pieces of data, 9,000 strains for more than 80 medical conditions. So clearly this is a very big thing that you can always use and helps benefit people. And prescriptive can be used to search the following ways: pain to strain, strain to pain, and strain to strain. So in general, find strains that are related to the best certain conditions, analyze a strain that you're familiar with or already used to see what conditions is best used for, and strain to strain, find other strains that are similar to the strain you're familiar with or already using. So, and again, when it comes down to it, it's very user friendly, very easy to follow with obviously percentages and things like that you can see. So moving on though, I just want to quickly show you this North American go-to-market investment and fees. So it lists out Canada, US, Mexico, but when it talks on 𝗖𝗢𝗡𝗖𝗧 licensing fees, that definitely does show and makes things a little bit more easier to understand. Obviously there's a lot of figures here, so I don't want to confuse you, but it does say 𝗖𝗢𝗡𝗖𝗧 fees are Canadian 88,700, share of cannabis sales of Canadian 1.3 million. US, it does say that the annual 𝗖𝗢𝗡𝗖𝗧 licensing fee is roughly about 15 cents a gram, which does ultimately work out to be 1.5 million USD. And then it talks on the annual ESG licensing fee, which is roughly about 2,000 a year, times by 75 does work out to be 150,000. So right now GCAC has forecasted 75 US based cultivators to purchase 𝗖𝗢𝗡𝗖𝗧. So this is where they get that 75 from. In general, a lot of good things. Mexico, not necessarily any licensing fee right now to be determined, but when it comes down to the South African component is what I'm very interested in, because on a side note, South Africa is very, very cheap to produce any cannabis. So I think that's one thing that a lot of the market and world doesn't necessarily know yet. It's starting to develop more and more, especially South Africa is very central for the greater world as well. So it can ship its products very, very easily. So having 𝗖𝗢𝗡𝗖𝗧 is a very big deal in the grand scheme of things. But South Africa, as far as the 𝗖𝗢𝗡𝗖𝗧 licensing fee, is roughly about 7.5 cents a gram. So substantially cheaper than even North America. Then it does talk on Europe. As far as the 𝗖𝗢𝗡𝗖𝗧 licensing fee, it's roughly about 15 cents a gram. So it's definitely a little bit more expensive. And then as far as beyond cannabis, most people remember E. coli breakouts in spinach and things like that. So products and this company can do a lot of good things. Helps to associate cultivators or kind of bad deals, if you want to call it that, through obviously, like I said, that trustworthiness. The ESG score, which is definitely very beneficial, plays a big part in this. Then it does talk on their management team. I'm just going to quickly go back to the website under the About section. So it does list right here about GCAC as well, but their management team. So management team and directors, there's Brad Moore, CEO and director, 20 years of experience. So a lot of good things. Alexander Helmel as well, Steve Patterson, right here, a couple others. A lot of very good experience in this whole sector, and not necessarily just that, but even right here, a serial entrepreneur. So clearly a lot of people that knows what it takes to actually thrive. And right here, like I already mentioned about the patent, which is a very big deal, shows that they actually submitted it on November the 24th, 2021, which this is all fine and dandy. Like I said, I'm going to link their website in the description below. You can pop over, take a look and read through all this in depth. Has a lot of good information. But when it comes down to me being an investor, I like looking at a lot of the data points behind the scenes, the technicals, and what that actually is telling me. So I'm just going to quickly go here. As far as using the ticker APP, which is on the TSX Venture, as far as volume is pretty low. So 70,000 shares being traded today. Right now, it doesn't look like it was just range bound. It was strictly at 3 cents, which in general isn't too bad. Yahoo does show the market cap under the APP ticker being 5.9 million. I don't know if that is fully accurate. Using Ortex, it does put it at roughly about 6.19 9 million. So it does appear to be kind of in line with that. But looking at some of the technicals, I want to show you as far as the technicals what that's trying to show us. So I'm just going to zoom in a little bit. So clearly range bound, lower percent of the Bollinger Band, which doesn't say too much because the broader market is all in the same boat. Momentum, number of buyers, you can tell it has been going down a little bit based on that. But again, nothing really abnormal outside of the market. There's a lot of fear going on right now. Stochastic is at 17, which is extremely oversold. So given the circumstances, it does seem to be at a fairly good discounted value. And when it comes down to these kind of discounted values, once the market does show good signs of turning and reversing and showing optimism, then these kind of stocks go up considerably. My own 2 cents. And even looking on the actual chart, I'm just going to quickly show you this. You can easily tell 9 times out of 10, we always hit this bottom and then bounce up. So even if you are looking more so from a flipping trade, this is a very good thing if you want to look at. Recent news, it does show that they did do a little bit more of an issuance of shares. So again, depending on how you see that, it is what it is. Can't really hold the company too much against that because it is a over-the-counter stock. It does have a lot of negative things. In case you guys don't invest in cannabis, it's a very touchy sector right now, and it has been until there's full legalization. But I think this app is going to do a lot of good things, and more so over the next year when cannabis flourishes, 𝗖𝗢𝗡𝗖𝗧 will as well. That's my own 2 cents. Like I've always said on every video, I'm not a financial advisor or a guru or anything like that. Just an investor that loves to make money. So take that how you see that and do your own due diligence at the end of the day. But outside of this news as well, on August the 4th, it does look like they signed a reseller deal with US Hemp, which again is a very big deal. Having a lot of these agreements set in stone makes things so much more efficient going in the long run, which that's what everyone looks for, is efficiency. And I think right now the cannabis sector is so new, and right now Canada's not necessarily doing the best as far as advertising, and that's probably one of the attributing factors why in reality the States hasn't really been legalized. But that's another topic for another time. In general though, I think while the cannabis sector sorts itself out, investing in this company is a very advantageous thing, especially for the long term. Like I said, pop over, has a lot of good information, a lot of good stats, even just based on 𝗖𝗢𝗡𝗖𝗧 investment highlights, a lot of good reasons why GCAC will flourish in the coming year or possibly years as well. So let me know your thoughts on all of that in the comments below. If you haven't already, don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I greatly appreciate that. And with that said, I really appreciate you guys watching.